obviously we've got the glorious 12th coming up. We've got the game seasons coming up. We've still got clay season going on, but we've got the game season coming up. You're going out shooting. What would you have? Side-by-side or an over and under? A lot of people say side-by-sides are dying out. That's completely rubbish. If you get the correct side-by-side, there's just as many side-by-sides out there. The biggest thing you need to do when you get a gun is you ask a few questions. What do you want to do with it? Are you going to go game shooting? Are you going to go clay shooting? Are you going to be a bit of a hobby shooter? Are you going to do a bit of clays, bit of game? But what are you going to do more of? Work that out, decide which gun you want, and buy the gun that you're going to do the most with. So if you're going to be in clay shooting and do a little bit of game shooting, then buy a clay gun. If you're going to do mainly game shooting or rough shooting, buy a game gun and shoot your clays with it. The other thing is budget. You see all over the place. You see Browning, Berettas, Fausties, all these sort of things. Don't set your budget. Don't think, oh, I can't afford this sport because everything's really expensive. You've got to spend £3,500, £4,000, £5,000 on a gun. There is plenty of good guns out there for under £1,000. There's also plenty of rubbish guns out there for under £1,000, but there is plenty of good guns out there for under £1,000. Bettonzollies, Yieldits, you got some of the ATA models, you got your Sabattis, little bits and pieces like that. So you've got that. But then you've also got your Browning grade 1, your Beretta grade 1. So set yourself a budget and don't be pushed. Don't go into a gun shop and don't let that person push you up unless you want to go up. If your budget is 750 quid, if your budget is £1,000, stick to that budget. Bearing in mind, you've got to get that basic kit. So you've got to get yourself a skeet vest. If you're going to go game shooting, you're going to need a tweed vest. Because we're the best in the world, if you're going to go to a nice game shoot, you really want to dress the apparel. Again, you can get yourself a sensible tweed vest, or you get yourself something like a little sealing vest that's a cheap and cheerful one. You need a cleaning kit. You need a gun slip. Again, you can go really expensive and get yourself a leather gun slip, or you can get yourself a cheapy gun slip, one of the Croots cheap gun slips that's about 30, 40 quid. So set yourself a budget. Second thing, find yourself a shooting school that has got 15, 20 different demo guns. Make sure you try those guns. Don't limit yourself to an over and under. You can get yourself, if you want to go game shooting and you want to be traditional, you can get yourself a proper nice side-by-side that will shoot like an over and under. You've got the AYA. In my eyes, the AYA, a second-hand AYA, is the best value for money side-by-side you will get. You can pick one of these up for anywhere between £1,400 and £2,000 or £3,000, depending on quality, depending on which model you want. But the good thing about these is they are high in the comb, so you've got plenty of height. So they will shoot like an over and under. A lot of people do have an over and under as your everyday gun, and then they buy themselves a nice little side-by-side as their second gun, as their little game gun. So don't limit yourself. Don't think, I have to have an over and under, buy what you would like, but make sure it fits you. And this is where, when you go to a proper shooting school, that shooting school will spend the time with you and make sure that gun fits you correctly. I've started saying now, my clients, if you want to buy a gun, book yourself a couple of hours lesson, because you can go out with the demo guns, you find which one fits you, find which one shoots well, come back in, find a gun that fits you, go out and shoot with your gun you've purchased. So that really is the best way of buying your gun. And don't think everyone goes, oh, don't buy a side-by-side. If you want to be traditional, stick a nice side-by-side. I would recommend erring towards the AYA rather than an English gun, because English guns tend to be very flat in the comb, and these are a lot higher, and you're getting very good value for money. That new is about 8,000 or 9,000 quid. So you pick one of these up for 1,800, 2,000 quid. It's a no-brainer. So don't limit yourself to one gun. Look at what there is. Then you've got a Bettonzolli. You can pick one of these up for £1,000. Some of them are under £1,000. A yield it's under £1,000, 850 quid. That's really the limit you want to go, really. If you go any cheaper, you're going to be buying in the sort of bargain basement stuff. Or you go for the biggest selling gun last year, the Browning Grade 1. Everyone knows what a Browning Grade 1 is. One of the best guns you can get. You can't beat them. They're bulletproof. Absolutely bulletproof. This is a game one. You can have a sporter or a game. What's the difference between a sporter and a game? The basic thing is it's lighter. Generally, a sporter will have ventilated ribs there. A game gun generally will have no ventilated ribs, or barrels, sorry. The rib on a sporter, generally, if you look at that, that's a thin rib. A rib generally on a sporter is thicker, is wider here. So you're like, when you mount the gun, you're looking down a motorway. But that Finally 525 is one of the best guns on the market. So there we go, you've got 3 guns. You've got a side-by-side, you've got an entry-level gun, and you've got a bottom-of-range Browning. You've got a nice little side lot. There's a Fausty here. Lovely little. Again, you're going a little bit more up, over £2,000 now, but it's a lovely little. If you want something nice, nice side lock, nice pad, it's nice. So you've got all the range, and there's nothing stopping you. So I shoot an XS Browning, and I shoot my game with my XS Browning or my 20 bore. An XS Browning is an out-and-out a clay shooter's gun. Now, there's nothing stopping you going and shooting game with that. If you like it, admittedly, the external chokes, you might want to buy some internal chokes with it, but there's nothing wrong with shooting game with your clay gun. It's a bit heavy. The only reason why people like to go to a slightly more game gun is when they're walking around a field, it's lighter. And if you're walking around, especially if you're walking around on a walked up day, you want that little bit light gun. You want that little bit lighter gun just to walk around. Because if you're walking around all day, you might only shoot 50 cartridges, but it's a heavy old gun to use. But there's nothing stopping you being able to do that. So again, I go back. If you want to buy a gun, and you want to buy a gun for the game season or the clay season, go to somewhere like Oxford Gun Company. We've got 30 different school guns, demo guns. That's what they're there for. Go and ask the advice. But don't minimise yourself. If you want to shoot a nice side-by-side, a handmade, you're getting basically a handmade gun there for under 2,000 quid. Value for money, you can't get it. What handmade stuff can you get that cheap on the market now? So, side-by-side versus over and under, there isn't really a match. If you're going to go out and be an absolute out-and-out clay shooter, you're going to go and shoot sporting, you're going to go and shoot down the line, you're going to go and shoot Olympic trap, ABT, then you're going to go for an over and under trap gun or an over and under sporter. But if you just want to go out and you want to shoot a little bit of clays to practice with my game shooting and just have a bit of fun, your side-by-side's perfect for that. So think to yourself what you want to do. Answer you those 3 questions. Those 3 questions is what will get you your right purchase that will fit you.